back. This is Scuba with more Let's Play Final Fantasy VI. I'm joined, as always, by my partially upgraded squad of Lamia, Elvis, Glenn, and Rose. When we last left off, I said I was going to be doing some Velt grinding. I have done that to an extent, quite an extent, as you can see from the amount of money and steps and time that I've been playing this game. But what I have done is I have gotten all of the magic on people that are important, but in terms of people that I consider non-mages, like Elvis here, he didn't learn anything that had a ×1 on it, such as Quarter and Whirlwind here. He didn't really bother learning that all the way through. The mages, however, did. I am ready, however, to take on DoomGaze. Death Gaze, depending on the version that you're playing. I've got Lamia, I've got Elvis, I've got Glenn, I've got Rose. This is pretty much my high initial damage party. That is the idea here. Now you could bring Coco along instead of Lamia, but I like Lamia for this fight a little bit. We are going to seek him out. He is in the skies. I know it. He should be right around here. God, it is so hard. You gotta get right on the freaking spot. Right, he's like just south of this, but straight on. Straight on till morning. Okay. Right. And then this way. I know he's around here somewhere. He's so freaking hard to find. Oh, I'm gonna get into the battle with him. I know he's around here somewhere, and I'll be right back. And it is boss time. We're up against DoomGaze, as he's called in this version of the game. He starts off the fight with level 5 Doom. Luckily, that does not hit anybody in my party. He is weak to fire, and he is weak to Pearl. So we're going to try to spam Fire 3 on him. And I might actually be leveled enough here to take him out in this first fight, should he stay around long enough. He has a tendency to run. Just like, well, anybody that has played a Pokemon game. Oh, God, I hated those legendaries. Anyway, let's finish him off, hopefully, with some Fire 3s. Hopefully we get a good amount of bounces here. 3 is good. Do we get Pearl? We don't get Pearl, unfortunately. But Bum Rush is really going to be our main damage dealer. As you can see, it is doing a hell of a lot of damage. Arrow! Pretty effective. Pretty effective. Of course, Minerva blocks a lot of that. Let's keep going for Bum Rush. Fire 3, jump. That is the main idea here. You could bring Coco along for this. Maybe morphing would help, but I've always, for some reason, preferred Lamia in this fight. Just for whatever reason. And down goes DoomGaze. I didn't actually expect to die this time, but whatever, we have defeated him. I fully expected him to run away. And for that, we get a small little cutscene. A piece of magicite popped out of DoomGaze's mouth. And we have received Bahamut, a new magicite for us. Very much appreciated. I am a big fan of Bahamut. Let's take a look and see what it does for us. As you can see here, it is further down the list than anything else we have. In fact, it skips a few, and it costs 86 MP to summon, and all he teaches is Flare. But he does give HP plus 50%. Oh, I'm gonna have everybody learn Flare. And I will be back when I have done more magic point grinding. Hooray! And that level grinding has been done. I've spent a lot of time level grinding, as you can see from the amount of time and the amount of gil and the amount of steps that I have. But honestly, even though I've done all this work, these countless hours of work off screen, it doesn't really help me out this much. This is something that I'm really doing for completionist's sake and not that much more than that. If you're looking for effectiveness, that is not what you want to do, what I have done. Let's take a look at Tweak. He is pretty much the main thing that I have been focused on. We have gotten a lot of rages. As you can see, we are getting close to finishing his rage list. We're not there yet, but we are completing that list as we keep going. Is there really any point to getting him a full rage list? No. I'll be the first to tell you that. No, most of these are useless, but they are there, and therefore I want to get them. So that's what I've been doing off screen, trying to get all of these done. On top of that, I have also been doing the magic points grinding in order to give everybody access to magic. With that said, I will not be using it very often, especially from characters that really I don't want using magic very often. Characters like Kanijo or Elvis or even Glenn. I don't really want them using magic very often. They have other abilities that I would much rather them use. So what was the point of me giving them the magic in the first place? Completionist's sake. That is really all that I have done. All for completionist's sake. If you're curious as to what the magic is, because we've gone through all the rages now, here is the list of magic that I have learned. This is the complete list. Tweak does have the complete list, even though I would not consider him a mage character. He was in my party so long, I might as well have used the time to benefit him. So, he does have the complete magic list so far for my party. Of course, the non-mages don't have quite as much as he does, but that is fine. Let's take a look at our other character, Novin. I have been working on him as well, particularly the lore. We have gotten a few new ones. We have Condemned, which I had to learn from a still life. Remember the painting that attacked us? I had to do that in the Velt, Condemned. It begins a Doom countdown. It's pretty much Doom. On top of that, I did learn Arrow, a very good spell. As you can see, also very expensive. Arrow I had to learn from a Harpier. You might have seen it on the list. I actually had to go find that one. It's near Collingen in the forest, if I remember correctly. Basically, it's a giant bird, and it casts Arrow. This is actually very powerful of a spell. More powerful than the next one, even though Blowfish, which is the next one, is more expensive. Blowfish is 1,000 needles. It does exactly 1,000 damage. You learn it from a Cactuar, which in this game is called a Cactrot. They're little cactus. Cacti. It's a little cactus. And it launches needles at you, and it does exactly 1,000 damage. In later games, it's called 1,000 needles. Makes a lot more sense that they would launch needles at you instead of Blowfish. Next one we did learn is Big Guard. This casts shell and safe on the party, which is nice, but as you can see, it costs 80 MP, so it's quite steep and not really something that I'm that keen on using too often. You actually learn this from a very weak enemy, the Earth Guards, which, if you remember, were on the first town when it was just, or not town even, the first island in the World of Ruin, where Sid was. There were Earth Guards there. These guys tend to die really damn fast. So what you end up having to do is get the rage for these guys and then use the rage, and then Tweak will cast Big Guard, and that's how you can learn it for Novin. After that, there are still a few things that we need to learn, obviously. Step Mine. I just wanted to point out how expensive that is. If I remember correctly, the number of steps determines the damage, which is what it says there, but the time determines the amount of MP that it costs. So the more that I play the game, the more expensive Step Mine is. So I'm going to try to give Novin more MP so I can use Step Mine somewhat effectively. The pugs, when they're by themselves, when it's just one pug, they love to use Step Mine, and because I've been playing so long, it's just a death sentence for whoever it lands on. Instant death every time. Sour Mouth we also learned. You learned that from Mad Oscar. Those were in Daryl's tomb, in case you forgot, but you can also get them on the Velds once you get them there. And finally, we have learned Rippler. Oh, Sour Mouth, by the way, it inflicts status ailments. It's, from what I remember, it's all of them. It's Dark, Poison, Imp, Mute, Confuse, and Sleep. So if it lands and the enemy is susceptible to all of them, you win. That's it, you win. But it is kind of expensive. And I think it's just the one enemy. I don't think you can multi-target that one, so it's not that great. Rippler This one I have rarely found a use for, and I probably won't be using it. It switches your status ailments with an enemy's statuses. So in case you have a bad status ailment, you can, instead of just curing it, you can give it to the enemy. Or if the enemy has a good status, like, I can't even think, like Berserker or Haste or something, and you want that, then you could use Rippler, or you could just cast it on yourself. But, you know, it's an interchange. I guess it's kind of useful, but it's way too expensive for me to consider that a viable strategy. But that is it for the lore. We have leveled up both of these characters quite substantially in terms of their access to abilities. In terms of their actual damage output or how over leveled I am in the game, I would say that is quite minimal. Everybody does have access to spells that maybe they shouldn't, but I won't be using that too often, so I do not consider myself over-leveled, even though I've been playing for damn near 60 hours. It's kind of weird how that worked out. But with that done, we are ready to move on after I get myself a full party ready to go. I'll be right back once I do. And we are at our next destination, which is the Opera House. I have a party of Coco, Elvis, Glenn, and Novin with us because the Figaro brothers are always awesome. For this, I pretty much have the same setup that I usually do, except everybody is equipped with Gaia gear that can equip it, except for Glenn, who can't equip it. But everybody else does have Gaia gear, and more or less the best stuff that we have access to in the game. In terms of the relics, it's pretty standard across the board here. Nothing really should surprise you. In terms of the Espers, I got Tritalk on Coco, Zone Seek on Elvis, Bahamut on Glenn, and Fenrir on Novin. He needs some MP, damn it. 343 isn't enough, really. He's got less than Glenn and Elvis. And they don't really even use magic that much. But we are in the Opera House. It is time to come back here. How you doing? Talk to the impresario. What's going on with the Opera House? They still got the nice little music going. I don't think this actually... No, unfortunately, they won't let us on stage. I was hoping that they would, but they don't. You can't be a stage performer, Coco. That is not for you.